That'll work. The ammunition there?
Yeah.
Hey everyone, IntoWeapons back again with you. Got one of the newer guns out of my collection here to share with you. This is the Smith and Wesson model M&P22. It's a variation of their M&P line. It's almost identical to my Smith and Wesson M&P 9mm, which is one of the reasons I bought this gun, was mainly for the ability to train with a very similar gun, almost identical in dimensions, exactly in the way that it operates mechanically, you know, with the safeties and the slide locks and the trigger mechanisms and the mag releases and all that good stuff. It's got a very similar feel to it, but I'm able to train at a much lower cost to me, being that it's a 22 long rifle compared to the 9mm, which is much more expensive. So, you know, for $20 I can buy a bulk box of 500 and go to the range and blast away all day for 20 bucks. Compared to, you know, a box of 9mm, which runs, you know, I think the cheapest I've found it is about 12 bucks for a box of 50, and that's, you know, not the dirt cheap stuff, not the steel case stuff. This is the brass case stuff. So like I said, it's just more of a gun that I bought for training purposes, so I got a better understanding and feeling for my full-size 9mm. This one is 12 plus 1 rounds, and I'll go ahead and safety check it for you guys, even though it has been done prior to the video, as always. And as you can see, it's a nice size gun. It is very light, much lighter than the 9mm, mainly because this is more of an all composite type gun. It's not a lot of metal to it. So, but as far as the way that it sits in your hand, it feels very good. Feels very good. Like I said, it's got a 12 plus 1 round capacity. The barrel length is 4.1 inches. The front sight and rear sight are adjustable. The front sight is drift adjustable left and right. Mine came from the factory way to the right, so I did have to adjust it some to the left with a punch. Very easy to do, wasn't difficult. And the rear sight here is adjustable with clicks. And I believe actually it's adjustable for both left and right, which would be your windage, but also up and down with this screw in the back for your elevation. So you're able to adjust these sights pretty significantly. The overall length is 7.6 inches. Weight is 24 ounces. It's got just much similar to the Smith and Wesson M&P line. It's got that back grip here, which is a polymer piece of the frame. You're not able to release that, and the tool that looks like the tool on the full size is more or less just a piece of the grip. You can't remove that at all. It's just a plastic piece. It does have a frame material of metal, so there is a metal frame in here, and the slide material is actually aluminum, aerospace alloy, so pretty cool. It's not plastic or anything like that, which is nice. It does have an ambidextrous safety, as you can see here, and on this side as well. It also has ambidextrous slide lock controls right there and right there, and you only have the takedown lever on the left hand side, and the mag release is changeable. You can change it over so it's on the right hand side of the gun. And as many of the other M&P guns have, as you can notice, it has the accessory rail here. So overall, very cool gun. It's actually pretty easy to disassemble, guys. What I'll do is I'll show it to you here real quick, but essentially we'll lock it back into the rearward position. We'll take our takedown lever, we'll move it downward. We'll go ahead and move that to the outward position like that. Once we have that done, what we can do is lift up on the back of the slide and release it forward, and the whole slide will come right off. You can actually take out, what you can see here is the spring, like slides right off, and there's like a plunger. I call it a plunger. I'm not sure what the actual name of the piece is here, but that will come out as well. And you'll notice as it comes out, this piece here, this angled piece, goes in like that. I hope you can see that there. So that, if you want to remember, goes in like that. And what that does is allows that locking assist lever here to come in and out. And what we can do is actually rotate this around, and this whole takedown lever will actually come completely out. I did not undo these pins in this gun and remove the frame from the gun here. I didn't really feel there was too bad of a need. This gun did get extremely dirty. Just to kind of make a side note here, I bought a box of 550 Federal. The Federal bulk had multiple problems. I had failure to feed, failure to eject, a lot of problems. Even the bullet on the first round wouldn't go into the chamber when I tried to chamber it. So a lot of problems with that. I bought a box of Remington 525 bulk, and I was expecting to have the same problems, if not worse. Usually Remington I have a lot worse time with. And it ate the entire box, 525 rounds, without one malfunction. I actually put about a total of 800, maybe 900 max rounds through this before I cleaned it for the second time. I did clean it after I purchased it to get the shipping oils off it. But after the 800 rounds, it was extremely dirty. In fact, to make note, I did actually remove the inside piece here. As I was getting at, I didn't remove the frame from the gun here just because it didn't seem like anything was escaping down into the sides of these guns, into the frame, so I didn't feel that that was absolutely necessary. I'm sure that removing these two pins is pretty easy. Removing the assembly in here on the slide is actually pretty easy comparatively to some of the larger, 9mm frame guns, etc. But it is something that you want to do if you're, you have competent skills to do it. There is some spring-loaded mechanisms in here. Essentially what you do is you drive this pin out on the side of the slide. What that will do is allow the whole assembly here to kind of slide forward. There is a little, I don't even know what this thing does, to tell you the truth. Probably locks the slide in or has something to do with the release, or not sure, but there's a little metal that's spring driven here, a little kind of clip that will come out. This whole thing will kind of slide forward towards the chamber here, the ejection port. As you do that, there's a plunger in the bottom of the slide, and it will pop out at you. And it's three small little pieces: a cone, a spring, and a little plunger stop. And what that does is kind of holds everything in here nice and solid. But that came shooting out at me. I almost lost the pieces. So again, if you take this out, be very careful of that. But once you slide this whole thing forward, once you get to a certain point, the extractor here is spring driven as well. That will pop outwards towards you as well when you're taking this out. So once you slide this forward enough, that will pop out. That kind of frees up the whole mechanism here. The extractor comes out at that point, and then this can actually just come right out of the slide this way. The firing pin is actually not spring loaded. It comes out pretty easily. There is a spring for the mechanism though. If you lift the firing pin out, there's just a little spring that sits right in there. What I'll probably end up doing is a separate video on how to get this thing apart for you. If anyone's interested, I can do that maybe sometime in the future here. I would recommend only doing that every 1,000, 2,000 rounds. But once I did get that out, it was extremely dirty underneath there. So you definitely do want to do it every now and again. So that's kind of the slide. I don't break that down any further. I don't break this down any further. That's pretty much it, guys. It's pretty self-explanatory here. What I'll go ahead and do is reassemble it for you. If you do take out this takedown lever, it's a little bit of wiggling back and forth to get it into the original position that it needs to go into. You'll get it. Just wiggle it to the original position and kind of feel your way around there. Once you have it in the way it needs to go in, remembering that this plunger just needs to have this slanted part going towards the left-hand side of the gun. If you slide that in there. If you do have this, I'll make note of that as well, if you do have this collar kind of fall off and you're not sure what end goes on, it's actually the end that is more full, I guess, I don't know. You get less of a diameter there. It's a smaller hole. You put the smaller hole end first. You got the bigger end hole sticking outward. So if that helps you out at all, you go ahead and stick the plunger in there. Kind of just slides right in. Make sure your takedown lever is in the kind of the outward position there. You can go ahead and replace your spring back over the piston rod there. You can go ahead and take your slide and slide it into, or the spring into that little hole there. Go ahead and put it all the way to the rear position here. Try to have it come forward and lock it into the position that you need to lock it. You slide into position there with your slide lock. Push really hard on your takedown lever. That'll kind of slide this pin out, that spring different pin, and push that upwards, and go ahead and release your slide. At that point, everything should work, including your lock back on the last round, and you're good to go, guys. Very nice gun. As I mentioned, it's a nice plinking gun. Very nice to train with, and for an MSRP of about $400, not too bad of a price either. Hope this helps, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, I appreciate watching, and thanks a lot.